知らない人が
Give me 1 second, everybody, while I get ready to kind of go over today. Give me 1 second, everybody. Checking it on my phone. All right. Audio, everything's pretty good, everybody. All right. So we had a pretty good day in the market today. To recap, I'm going to bring up my notepad here. What we was talking about last night, everybody, we were saying keep your eye on Apple. I actually am still in Apple. We'll get to that in a little bit. Right? We said, look at the finance sector, Shopify, Walmart, Nvidia. Keep your eye on Nvidia. Nvidia went a little bit down today. UNH, United Healthcare, Microsoft, and Meta. Right? These were what we were looking at today. So I was, if you guys remember, I told you yesterday I was in Shopify. Right? Shopify came out. I don't think it was this high. What's today? It should have been this high, but it wasn't that high. So Shopify, did I sell Shopify today? What did I sell today? Hold on, chat. Hold on. Let me see what I sold today. Yeah, I sold Shopify. Oh, I changed. Okay, I changed it. I changed the option. So Shopify was like 40 something, and I don't want to move this around because it will disappear because I want to recap what happened today. So my contract was 2.6. This is 2.6 160. So I got in at 25 and I sold at 40, right? So that was about 60-70% profit on Shopify. We got in Shopify, I believe, Tuesday, and we held for a day. And Shopify went. We said we were going to wait till we got it to 142, 144. It actually hit 144 early that day, and we're able to make profit on that. Walmart, I got into Walmart, right? Walmart came down. Move this a little bit. Walmart came down. I got into Walmart here. Boom, Walmart went back up to 117. So around here, I sold Walmart. So I made like, I think like $20 on Walmart. The contract was like $25, $26. Let me just make sure. Because I actually, what's that, 411? All right. So what happened? I also, what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So Walmart, I got in Walmart at 25, 27, and I sold at 42. But the issue was on Robinhood, it actually went to 52. And my contract just never updated. So I actually bought one at 44 and then sold it at 51 because I thought the contract didn't sell because I didn't get confirmation on Robinhood. Once I got confirmation, right? So we had two. Walmart did pretty well for us today. Remember, I told you I'll keep Walmart up. I did not get back into Shopify, right? If we see Shopify came down. This was early in the day, right? Everything came down and then reversed around 10 o'clock, right? But as you can see here, if we're looking at Shopify, I switched the contract, and this is something I just kind of figured out today, is sometimes, or a lot of times, we don't have enough volume on a contract, right? You don't have enough things driving price, and people negotiating price, asking and bidding prices, right? You'll see these little skips as you see on the chart. You'll see these little skips And that's just the sales, right? So it's not a lot of sales happening for it to change the price uniformly, right? Let me go to something like a Meta, right? See, something like a Meta, you see more as the price move. You see more line items here as far as where the stock is, and we'll get into Meta in a little bit. Long story short, I was looking at Shopify. I didn't get into it. I was waiting. It reversed, and it reversed all the way from 137 to 143, and you could have got a contract around 44, around 40 to 50, and then it goes all the way up to $2 if you held that long. I probably would have got out around one, like when we touched up here. What time was this? This was 2:00. I probably would have got out around 142, so probably would have been somewhere around here 1.2, 1.3. That's when I would have sold a contract. But even that, right, we're looking at over 100% on just Shopify if you entered the week, the contract ending this week on January 30th, right, at 143. So that's the other thing I learned today, is sometimes you have to play with the options contracts to find something that is moving according to how the stock is moving. So at 160, it wasn't really moving like that. So I went down to something short term in case I wanted to get back in it on a daily, 0 day. But the expiration would be tomorrow, right? And Shopify, we still have some ways to go. There's still a lot of meat left on that Shopify bone. So we're still keeping Shopify on the list. Still keeping Shopify on the list for tomorrow, right? And I'll keep you guys posted by the end of the day on where I think we can go with Shopify, right? And I'm still, like I said, I still like looking at Walmart, Shopify. These are very cheap contracts, by the way, so I will keep those in mind. But yeah, you could have made some good money on Shopify today. All right, and subsequently, I think tomorrow as well. Let me see something. So this is Meta, but let's look at Shop. Let's look at Shop. Let's look on the daily real quick. That's 30 minutes? Oh, daily. All right, so look, we went above, right? We went above. We went 2 up on the day. It passed the 2 up. This is, so talking about the strat, the number 2 means it went above or below the previous day's candle, right? And depending on the time frame, the candle moves accordingly, right? So we went above the daily, right? And then we came back here. Remember, I told you we were going to come back to 144 because price has a memory in the market. So we came back here. So the next stop, if we go up a little bit more, will probably be 145 or 146. And then, next week we could go up a little bit higher, right, to 150. So like I said, or we could still trade in this range, but Shopify is still a very good contract, especially if it goes crazy early in the morning, right? The first 30 minutes, I might look at getting into Shopify again, if not Walmart. All right, another trade I got into but kind of messed it up a little bit was JP Morgan. Remember, I told you guys it's on the list. JP Morgan, right? I feel like it's gonna reverse because it's been beat up, right? And we can look at JP Morgan here. Let's look at the daily. JP Morgan reverse. It passed the past 2 up on the day, right? We started here and it came up. So what's the next stop? The next stop is like 308. 308, 307. What is this? 308, probably 308. We might get up to 308. So what I might look for is maybe a drawdown and then go back up, or you just might jump into it and then go all the way to the moon. You never know We'll just have to play it by ear tomorrow. Like I said, I actually would like to wait for a pullback. And then I also will look at XLF. Let's take a look at Berkshire Hathaway and see what happened on Berkshire Hathaway today. Berkshire Hathaway reversed. Remember I told you guys, keep an eye out on Berkshire Hathaway. Let's look at it on a 10-minute chart. See what it did today. All right, it came out 472. And in the first, let's look at the 5-minute chart. So it had a big candle here. I wouldn't have got into it. It's too early, right? When we had to draw down like everybody else around 10. If I said, not too bad, not too bad. But Berkshire Hathaway still has. Let's look at here on the chart. Berkshire Hathaway still. We can get to 478. And if it's really feeling a certain way, we can get to 481. So keep an eye on Berkshire Hathaway. Pretty much all of your financial stocks, right? Looks like they want to recover. So, but JPM is where my money will be, right? And in JPM, so I was in JPM. When did I get in JPM? I got in, I want to say here. I got in here. It's 925, right? Looking at, and it started, and I feel like we kind of came back towards the bottom. Got in at $13. It went up, but then the market, everything in the market kind of went down. And then at 8, I had 2 contracts at 13, so 26. I took a $5 loss on both of those, so it's minus 10. So it's about 50% loss. But if I would have held, look at this. If I would have held 13, it came all the way back up by 11:30, and we would have had what's this, 70-80% profit on these 2 contracts. Because this is where I was looking for it to go. I was looking for it to come back up to 305. Once it hit 302, I was looking for it to come back up, and it did come back up. I just didn't want to stay in it because I wasn't sure. Because I was looking at this candle right here. My thought process was, if it breaks this candle, because it was the same candle we was looking at before, right? If it breaks that candle, or if it broke this candle, right? I was looking here. We kept touching here. And I was like, okay, we'll probably go back up here. And I was really looking to get maybe 22 on the contract. It broke down, and then it broke down some more. And I was like, you know what? Let me just get out. So I got out, came back down here. And if we see, support was kind of where resistance was in pre-market. And then went back up, and then even went back a little higher later on in the day around 2 o'clock, right? So if I would have stuck it out, I definitely would have had profit on these contracts. I just didn't like the way it was going. I didn't know if we were reversing on the day or not, so I just got out the contract, saved myself. I could have jumped back in, right, at $8 a contract, maybe got 3 of those, $8, right? So then it would have went up to 23, right, which is like 280% profit. Not bad, but that's typically what I like to do. If the contract, if it breaks below the support level, it goes too far, then I'll get out the contract. That gives the opportunity for us to re-enter the contract at a lower cost, or just stay in it and maybe average down your cost. And maybe I could have bought 2, like I said, 3 more, and then we could all went up and sold and got a good profit on those. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes you got to be clear on where your support and resistance levels are, and where you are looking to take profit or get out of contract. So I was willing to lose $5 per contract. So it dropped down. And then we just took the loss on that, but it did go up, actually fairly quickly, actually. I'll say 30 minutes. 30 minutes, took 30 minutes for it to reverse. But I was already out. All right. So JPM, keep JPM. We said JPM, Shopify already, and Walmart. UNH. Let's look at UNH. I was thinking about getting in UNH. I was thinking about getting in UNH. What is this? Okay, Tuesday. Right here, right? UNH. What time was this? This was 8:52. Right? The problem was me getting in the contract. It was just kind of, I don't think it was a lot of volume on UNH at this price point, because the contract was just kind of stale, even though it was going up, as you can see here. Even though the contract was going up, 904, it wasn't really going up like it did on the chart on here. So that's why to enter it, it looked weird, and I believe that is attributed to low volume. So when a contract has low volume, then you see these skips. But it would have been great to get in here, $30 all the way to 90. It's 300%. That would have been fantastic. Remember I told y'all yesterday, UNH, it took a big hit Monday, right? It took a big hit Monday, and then Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday, and then to start recovering Tuesday a little bit, and then yesterday we were looking, and remember I said keep that on the docket, right? Because we came all the way back up to 294, all the way down from like 280 something. So Wednesday was a good day to get these contracts. But anyway, keep your eye on UNH, right? Could go back and let's look at UNH on the chart from a daily perspective, because tomorrow is the end of the day. All right. So it touched. Where did we touch? Let's put a line right here. All right. So it touched some previous highs, right? So where could it go? It could go to 299. It could go up. So keep your eyes on UNH, because it still has a gap to fill, big gap to fill. So we definitely want to keep that on the watch list. Can make some good money on that as well. All right. So let's talk about another plan, Meta. I didn't talk about. I talked about Meta going crazy in the pre-market, right? And remember, I told y'all to watch for the gap down, right? So it went all the way up to 744, right? Pre-market, aftermarket, and usually when something runs up, it crashes back down because people take profits on, everybody's going to take profits, right? So they came in, everybody took profits, and I wasn't looking at Meta until probably when the market started to reverse, right? I was watching it, but I wanted to get in Meta, but then I didn't. As you can see, look at all the volume here. I wanted to get in Meta, but I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I wasn't sure if it was going to come back up, right? If it was going to come back up, then fall, because it was such a big gap. But it came and it kind of settled right here, came back down, and then it just kind of took off. And then it settled right here to like 1030. And then around 1034, it took off again, right? So at that 1034, I was looking right here. I was looking at it. It was 30. And I was thinking, maybe I could get in, but I just didn't pull the trigger because I didn't have high confidence on where it was going for the day, just because we had so much jump. But you could have got in at 38 here. Then it went up, touched $1, right? Which would have been great. We're talking about 300% on the contract. Then it came back down. Boom. It's 1152, right? So when it came back down here, And I was just looking at it and I was like, you know what? Came back down to 48 and I really thought about getting back in it. Which still would have been good, right? This would have been 100% profit. Um, got back up to the 1 and then came back down. So my point for saying this is watch Meta tomorrow. You might be able to make some good bump on Meta tomorrow. So we're keeping that Meta on the list. Microsoft took a big hit after earnings, even though they had spectacular earnings, right? Let's look at Microsoft. Look at that on the day. Microsoft took a huge bump, right? From 482, came all the way down to 433. So it could still go up $20 from pre-market to tomorrow day. So keep your eyes on Microsoft. Microsoft might be a little pricey. Let's look at Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft is not pricey. Look at this, 450. Look how much volume. Look how much volume is on Microsoft. 450, $33 a contract, right? So this is Microsoft, 450 call, 0-day expiration. Or let's even look at what does it look like on the 6th. So 273. So 0-day on Microsoft. Microsoft could go crazy. Let's look at some of the options. Right? Volumes on Microsoft. Like, look at this. We still got 30,000, right? Microsoft might be the play of the day. Everybody, Microsoft might be the play of the day. So I'm gonna put 2 stars here, right? And just for its and giggles, let's look at this. Let's say Microsoft. Change the symbol, keep the thing. Let's switch this to the 15-minute or 30 minutes. All right, 30 minutes. What's what we said? 450, January 30th. Through the contract, Microsoft. January 30th, 450. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay. 434. So $34 right now. Okay. What if this starts to go in the gap? 450. Right? We can go up to maybe $2.50, maybe $3. Right? Or more. $3. Let's see. What I say? 450. I don't think it goes to 450. So Microsoft 450. If this goes crazy, it could go up. Let's look at put on a daily. All right, so we can shoot back up to. Let's look at on the big chart. We can get up to 442 or 47. We can go up. Like I said, it's a lot of volume on Microsoft, so Microsoft might be the one tomorrow. And last but not least, As you guys know, I am in Apple. Apple just had earnings. I got in at $16. I have 2 contracts at 16 and I have another contract at 22. Right, so I'm looking to get at least $50. I'm looking for at least $50 per contract, which would be 16, what's that, 32? It'd be maybe 200%, maybe 300% on Apple. If this goes, because as you can see here, Apple beat earnings and they went all the way up to 268, which is almost 270. Remember, I kept telling you there is a chance for Apple to get back up to 270, 268, 270. And if it pops up like that in the pre-market, we're selling that thing early in the morning and take profit on those, which would be probably total 120. Let's see, 50 minus 16 would be 34. So 34, which would be 68 plus 28, 96. Hold on, what did I say? 68. Yeah, I was like 96. So almost $100 on low cost options, right? So, and we could do this all day. Like I was saying, you could have on Meta, you could have ate on Meta, right? You could have ate on this upward trajectory, the pull down, come back up, eat again, right? You could have ate late and, you could have ate a few times on that if you wanted to. So also, QQQ. Look at QQQ. You could have ate on QQQ today, right? Like I told you, everything dropped off to about 10 and stuff started to reverse. This came all the way down to 6. Was it 618? And it came all the way back up to 630. The problem with QQQ was I usually like to trade that. Remember I told you a few days ago? That's what I usually like to trade. But the problem with QQQ is it was too expensive today. Usually I like $30, $40 a contract. Today was 100 and something, which 100 and something here and then come back up would have went stupid, right? We went up 10, $9. $9 on QQQ was probably like 800%, right? You could have really, and I knew this was going to happen because like I said, tomorrow are earnings and I'm usually looking at kind of pretty much the key stocks that kind of move. And as you can see, not these, I'm sorry, here, right? And everything around the same time. And I also look at the key stocks like here, right? This is XLK, which is all of your tech stocks, right? And this is all the stocks that heavily influence XLK, right? And I don't have MU, but MU will probably be going on that list as well. But it's usually PLTR, AVGO, which is Broadcom, PLTR is Palantir, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, right? These are some of your key movers in XLK. So when it came back down here, then everything reversed back up. I knew QQQ was going to go back up. Not only that, but everything else in the market reversed as well. So everything was pointing green in the market after about 10 o'clock, right? So once they had 10, everything reversed. And then for the technology sector, it just kept going and going and going. Okay. So these are things you just want to look at as far as confluence, which is things merging together to show an idea on where a stock can potentially go, right? So even if you got in here just to get back up to this point, right, which was pre-market resistance at another time. And remember, you guys, I want y'all to put this in your brain. Price has memory. So where you see a lot of these prices where it kind of stagnant, these were prices where it was stagnant before, from people buying, right? And institutions buying. So it came up. It could have came back down here, 622, but it kept going. Had a little dip here, and then just kept going for the rest of the day. But could have made good amount of bread on QQQ yesterday for sure, right? And tomorrow, it wouldn't be crazy seeing aftermarket A at 630, may come back down to 625, and then we might go up to 630 or a little bit higher, especially if Microsoft recovers, Apple shoots up. It could be a wild day tomorrow, so prepare. Tomorrow, I'm probably gonna exhaust all of my buying power. Exhaust all of my buying power. We're gonna go for broke tomorrow. But if I lose, I took this role from somebody in the Discord. If I lose 2 times in a row, then I'm out. Right? So yeah, that's how it will go tomorrow. Like I said, I'm just looking for $20, $30 contracts and have a chance to balloon up. So I can buy 2 or 3 contracts at a time, take the profit, move on, and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm really looking at Meta, Shop, UNH, JPM, and Microsoft tomorrow. And also QQQ if the contracts make sense. I'll hop in QQQ as well. So, like I said, that's the playbook for tomorrow. We can also let's look a quick look at earnings before open. Right, you got MO, Honeywell. These are defense companies. Blackstone, Mastercard. This is finance. Well, this was yesterday. I am tripping. I'm sorry. So we got SoFi, finance. American Express, finance. Right, American Express could go crazy. Exxon, Verizon. We didn't even look at Verizon. Let's look at Verizon for a second. Chevron. Okay, so Exxon and Chevron, which is the energy sector, XLE. I may look at. Nah, I probably won't be looking at. I think tech will go crazy, rather go up or go down. Either way, we'll play it. So I'm not really interested in the energy sector. But let's look at Verizon. Let's see what Verizon is. Oh, excuse me. Microsoft, Verizon. So it looks like Verizon did break, went 2 up, broke here. Looks like it leveled out. So it leveled out, consistent with low high here. Also this here and this here. So and this one. So it touched back where it's supposed to. It could go up to 41, maybe, depending on what earnings looks like. And Verizon has been pretty positive. Let's see what typically happens on earnings for Verizon. Shoots up. That's 1. Shoots up. 2. Shot up. So it could shoot up here. Or here 41. Probably to 41. Let's go Verizon. 42, very cheap. Get you 3 contracts. So it could be 100% on Verizon. So I won't be doing Verizon because I think there's more money to be made elsewhere. But look, there's a lot of volume on Verizon though. Let's see what the contracts look like. There's a lot of volume on Verizon, y'all. A lot of volume. So put Verizon on the list. We'll put it on the list. And then we'll look over it tomorrow. I'm not going to put a start bar because I probably won't be trading. I'll be honest with everyone. But we can do the exercise. Options. What are we looking at? 42. We're on the day. So it could, if we look here at the low high and try to line it up with what we have on the chart. All right, we could. 41 would get us to, I might take, I don't know. We'll have to look at it in the pre-market, but this will be crazy to get to, even if we got to 50, right? 40, 50. That's still 400%. This is 800% on Verizon. If Verizon got back to 41 or a little bit higher. All right, so we'll keep an eye on Verizon, ladies and gentlemen. Look, and Verizon has been moving pretty steadily, right? On the day, let's shrink this down. Let's look at 15 minutes. All right, so we went up to, so it went from 0.8 to 0.15, right? 100%, almost 100%, 90%, 40. Now if it go up, 41. So it might be 500%. I'm sorry, 405%. I don't think it's going to go all the way up. But yeah, could be 400, 500% on Verizon. I might take a few flyers on Verizon. I won't hold you. We'll see. We'll see on Verizon. So keep an eye on Verizon for tomorrow. All right. I've chatted you guys up long enough. Like I said, we reviewed earlier what happened in the market today, what I profited on, what I took small loss on, and what I'm currently waiting on Apple. Hopefully Apple does me a solid and runs it back up in the pre-market right before it goes. And tomorrow I'll kind of I probably will trade from market open to about 11:30, because contracts usually dip off around that time, right? If you even look here, we start off at 511, and then once we get about 11, 11:30, it starts to get a little weird as far as, because theta starts kicking in crazy as we get closer to the end of the day. So yeah, that's what I'll be looking at. All right, everybody have a great day in the market tomorrow. I will report back by the end of the day tomorrow on Friday. Let you guys know what happened. Like I said, I'm going by my whole buying power. Remember, I started with $100 2 weeks ago. I believe I am up 60% on I'm up 60% this week. I'm down 20% on the month. No. Yeah, I'm up 60% this week, which could turn to 70, 80% in a week, which is not bad, right? And we'll start next week pretty good. Okay? All right, JC, trade sharp. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.